Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sully Squad. It is officially football season, and as you can see, I'm squadless right now. Mike Fuji can't make it; he's down at the Phillies game. I've got my man Sean Kilrain will be hopping on in a minute. But hey, it's football season, and the preseason is finally over, and I'm very excited to have a special guest from Inside the Birds. We got Andrew Dicecco hopping on with us, nice enough to hop on with us. So we're going to get down to a lot of Eagles talk, and I'm going to bring Andrew on right now, and we're going to get right down to business here. How you doing, Andrew?
Doing well, Joe. How are you, man?
Yeah, pretty good. And let's be honest. I mean, the Phillies are playing great ball. I love my baseball. But it's football season, bro. I mean, I'm like extremely excited. Had a fantasy football draft yesterday, so I'm a little tired from that. It was a long day, but it was a good time. And kind of glad the preseason's over. I mean, the NFL preseason right now is just it's almost like root canal. You know what I mean? Like how you can't even watch those games really. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a great product, but I'm one of those few sickos that enjoy the preseason. I like watching the young guys play. I watch a lot of these players in college, so being able to see them take that opportunity and see what they can do with it's kind of cool for me. But I'm in the minority there.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I say that, but I'm kind of right there with you as a sicko. I mean, I'm sitting there like watching Tanner McKee. I'm like, oh, this guy's got a good arm. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And you don't get to see these guys during the season, most of them anyway. So it's kind of cool to see them get extensive action.
Yeah, definitely. So to kind of piggyback off of that, what as far as like the final roster, do you see any possible surprise cuts? I mean, it looks like right now. I mean, like how about like the running back battle between like Sermon or Penny? Like how do you see that going?
I don't think Trey Sermon makes it. I don't see a path in which he makes the team. Thought he got a lot of opportunities to show what he could do. They gave him a pretty substantial showcase throughout the preseason. I just don't think that he did anything to warrant them carrying 5 running backs. And I don't know that he did enough to unseat maybe a Boston Scott or a Rashad Penny. I just really, if you're Trey Sermon, you have to exhibit special traits, pass catching, downhill running, nose for the end zone, what have you. You need to be able to do something special to make your case for a roster spot. And he just didn't do it. Now, that's not to say that he can't play in this league. I do think that he can play in this league. Could be a potential guy that teams maybe look to trade for if they're afraid that they may lose him. Depending on where they sit in the waiver wire, they may want to trade for him. But I think that he can play. It's not going to be here. I don't think.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, and also it's but you hear Sirianni. I mean, it seems like Sirianni always talks the kid up, but obviously, Rashad Penny. I mean, he's had a lot of injury problems, but when that kid's healthy, I mean, he's a beast, Rashad Penny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's the most pure runner that they have on the roster, and I feel pretty confident in saying that. He's missed 37 games in 4 years, but when he gets the ball, he has a lot of burst. He's able to not just, run it downhill and barrel his way, in short yardage, but he also has enough juice to bounce it outside and make some explosive plays. So I'm interested to see if he's able to stay healthy, what he's able to do in this offense, because he could push for 800 to 1,000 if he is healthy and be a really good complement to DeAndre Swift. And I'm not exactly sure how much Kenny Gainwell is going to factor. I mean, I know he's gotten the majority of the 1 reps in camp, but he's also never had more than a small amount of carries in the season. So I don't know. All of a sudden, if you're able to ramp it up, I think that he's certainly going to have a role, especially as a situational back. They really trust him in that capacity. But Rashad Penny is a really talented player when healthy, and let's not overthink it. DeAndre Swift is the most back on the roster and could sort of fill a Westbrook-esque type of role if he's able to stay healthy.
Yeah. Do you think there's any is there any truth to the Jonathan Taylor rumors? I mean, to me it doesn't seem like they would do that, but I was just wondering if you heard anything.
I don't think that has any legs. I have yet to hear really anybody mention it. Knowing the Eagles' philosophy on running backs, the highest paid running back for perspective for those listening is Boston Scott, who I think has a $2 million allotment this season. So, I mean, you invested a 4th-round pick, and to get
Right.
Swift over here, Rashad Penny, I think, is only getting $600,000. I mean, you really don't. Trey Sermon is still on a rookie deal. So, I mean, that tells you right there that they don't necessarily want to invest at that position that much. So I would have to say no. And they also have 4 guys that they can sort of implement a committee approach, which is what I think they really want to do, because they all have different types of skill sets, and I think that helps them accentuate it.
Yeah, I mean, just me, to me, just as a, it didn't make sense to me as a casual fan. You know what I mean? I just figured I'd ask maybe if you heard something or whatever, because like you said, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you bring DeAndre Swift in, and then what, you're going to go get Jonathan Taylor too? I mean, how many assets you going to put there? You know what I mean?
How do you distribute the carries? And, you're not going to make everybody happy. And I think right now they have a really good amalgam of talent there, and they all bring something different and unique to the table. I think that bringing a Jonathan Taylor in, who is a proven workhorse, I don't know how the other guys would slot in, and I don't know how the offense would function when you have a running back who's expecting 20-plus carries a game, right? I mean, you got to get AJ his touch, you got to get Devontae, you got to get Dallas Goedert his touches. It just doesn't seem feasible to me.
Yeah, speaking of trade, do you think that they'll find a way to move Derek Barnett?
Well, I mean, I think that they would obviously like to keep Derek Barnett, given just the depth that he provides. I mean, you're not going to find many rotational pass rushers that have 45 starts under their belt. That was a former first-round pick, pretty good run defender. Look, is he an all-world player? No, he's certainly not a world beater by any stretch. But you'd be, hard-pressed to find a more capable pass rusher in a limited capacity than Derek Barnett. Is he a penalty magnet? Yeah. Does he have his flaws? Absolutely. But I think that they would like to keep him, but Derek wants to play a little bit more. He wants to play more than he's going to be playing here. He's not going to see that many snaps. He's 27 years old. He's in his prime, coming off an injury. I think he has something to prove, but I just don't see it. I mean, they restructured his contract a couple months ago, and I think that they kind of like the rotation that they have there. They don't have a lot of guys, actually, that can play with their hand in the dirt. They have a ton of edge rushers,
Right.
but in the pure defensive end, traditional – if we're looking at it from those standard, that perspective, you got Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett.
Yeah, and as good as the defensive line was last year, to your point, I mean, that was one of the Barnett's injury was one of the reasons that they went out to try to get Robert Quinn, and that turned out to be, that turned out to be a swing and a miss. But I mean, that's they obviously value that position.
Absolutely. And that's the foundational element to their defense, right? It's going to ultimately take pressure off the back end, which, by the way, they're aging and they don't have a ton of speed back there. So I think that if you don't have a pass rush that can get home, you may leave yourself a little vulnerable back there. Bradbury and Slay are not burners. Slay's a little bit faster than Bradbury, actually considerably faster. But the safety situation, to me, when you don't have C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Marcus Epps could run a little bit. He wasn't somebody that had a ton of range, but Gardner-Johnson was that jack of all trades. He can play anywhere you need him to play, and not having that leaves you even more vulnerable in the middle of the defense when you don't have corners that have especially world-class speed. So I think that the pass rush is so paramount to what they want to do, and having as many bodies as possible to keep that rotation going is going to be crucial to their success.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. How much do you think we should move into to buy into this like Reed Blankenship hype? It seems like there's a lot of Reed Blankenship love out there. Like, what are you kind of seeing from him? I mean, is that legit? A lot of that.
Good question, Joe. And he's been one of the standout players in training camp. It's legit, and I've said this before. What Reed Blankenship lacks in athleticism and speed, he more than makes up for with his instincts and just his ability to process. He's a student of the game, and that a lot of times that term's thrown around, but he always seems to be in the right time, and that's because he has an astute football mind, right? And I think that that's a powerful thing when you're talking about a player who doesn't have those overwhelming athletic traits. And he's a physical player. He grasped the system quickly. He earned the trust of the coaching staff, and he's been the constant with the first team safeties. And you've seen a lot of changes around him. They want to try and find the best match. I think most recently it's Justin Evans, who's seen a lot of first team work. Terrell Edmonds has seen some. Yeah, Justin Evans to me would be the guy who I depict to be the starter opposite Blankenship week 1, just based on what I've seen, what we know right now. Kayvon Wallace is somebody who had a lot of first team reps in camp, sort of seemed to fall out of favor a little bit because he got leapfrog. Sidney Brown started performing and get some reps with the first and second team, and they really seem to like what they have in Justin Evans. So I don't know how Kayvon Wallace really fits in if the safety position as a whole. That would be somebody that I might think would be on the outs, but I mean, I just don't see them carrying 5 safeties is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it's funny because with the Blankenship, I mean, if you look at, a lot of throughout the NFL, you've seen safeties that maybe don't have, the quote unquote great athletic ability, but just know how to play the game. I mean, I could remember, not saying Reed Blankenship's obviously going to be like this guy, but like a John Lynch type guy. You know what I mean? He didn't have like the greatest speed, but the guy knew how to play. He knew how to play the game.
Right. And the one thing I will say about the safety position is that I think that if you're looking at a position that they could really look to either make a trade or try and maybe find somebody off the waiver wire, that to me would be the position, because they have a lot of guys, more or less, that have a redundant skill set in that they're more adept at playing in the box around the line of scrimmage. They don't have a ton of range. I think Sidney Brown can certainly evolve into a player that has those traits, but I think he plays the game so fast and unrestrained at times that as a rookie, you want to see him rein it in a little bit more before you turn him loose, if that makes sense. Reed Blankenship's better at the line of scrimmage. Terrell Edmonds certainly is. Justin Evans has a little bit of coverage ability, which is why I think that he could be the best pairing opposite Reed. But I think it really behooves the Eagles to go out there and get a pass coverage type of safety to add to that back end, because I think that that's what it's lacking right now.
Yeah, definitely. And you would touched on the D backs, the defensive backs like Slay and Bradbury, and obviously they're going to be here this year. And I guess looking at their cap hits, they're probably going to be here next year too. But what do you think of the Isaiah Rodgers move? I mean, I know he has some legal, he's suspended for the gambling, but he, I don't know like what you think of like Pro Football Focus, but he was like a top 5 or 6 corner supposedly under Pro Football Focus last year. Do you like that move?
No, I'm not gonna slight their data or anything like that. I go with what I see. I always base my assessment on what I see, not what somebody else tells me. But I think he's a solid player. I liked him coming out of UMass. I think he's a smaller, scrappy player, very fast. I believe he ran a 4.28 or something to that effect in his pro day that was held for him. He's obviously would be there to play the slot. Really good kick returner as well. I never like to get carried away with any of these acquisitions, because I like to see them manifest on the practice field. And he won't even be eligible for reinstatement until 2024, and he won't even be able to join the team until then. So I think it's a smart move and trying to prepare for the future, maybe add an intriguing guy that could be in the mix, and it certainly can't hurt. So that's an upside addition, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of like a, you're throwing basically it's not costing you anything. I mean, what the heck? If he comes in next year and he stinks, you just cut him.
I mean, like, and on the flip side of that, if he comes in and he tears it up as a kick returner and he can give you some slot reps productively, I mean, he probably would have started for the Colts this year for what it's worth, or at least had a pretty prominent role on defense at least in the nickel role. So, I mean, and he's going to be 26 next year, so entering his prime. I think it's a decent move, and that's another shrewd move from this front office to even looking with an eye towards the future to bring somebody like that in that might have some upside.
Yeah, really. I mean, I could be biased being an Eagles fan, but I mean, Howie Roseman's definitely got to be at least top 2-3 GM in all football.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think he's the best in the business. When you look at his whole body of work, what he's done, the fact that you wonder if other teams are going to be hesitant to even want to deal with him, because he seems to always get the better end of those trades. I just think that he presses all the right buttons, and he really hit his stride as he's gone on here in Philadelphia. I mean, obviously there's always going to be some blips on the radar. Of course there are for any general manager, but I think that he really has a good pulse and a good sense of what the team needs, and a good a good mind of looking down the road and what could be beneficial to the team in the future.
Yeah, well, speaking of, I mean, hey, we're sitting here throwing Roseman bouquets, and obviously he deserves them. But one thing on the bottom here, I'm a little concerned about is what do you? I'm a little concerned about the punter situation. Is there I mean, that was a huge play in that Super Bowl. I mean, that punt. I mean, I'm not saying that's why they lost the game, but all year, a lot of us fans were like concerned, like, hey, this kicking game's going to catch up to him, and then sure enough, the Super Bowl, that big punt return is. Do you think there's a possibility they can make a change at punter?
Yes, but another thing to take into account is that he's a solid holder, and when you look at the kick that Jake Elliott hit last week, I mean, they have a good chemistry there. Rick Lovato, the long snapper, as well. I think that the chemistry there is also really valuable, but you have to sort of balance that and say, can we get another guy maybe who has more of a leg, more consistency? That's really what you're looking for: consistency, putting the ball where it needs to be in situational moments. But I think that he's a marginal punter. You know what you're going to get with him. I never thought that Ty Zedner was really going to have a legitimately push Zippos for a roster spot. But I think that he may make the 53 initially because you want to have somebody there. You don't just want to go in there and feel like feel compelled to have to add a punter. That's tough when you're desperate. I think he might just be there, and then if they see somebody they like better, maybe swap them out and do one of those type of things. But look, if we're talking about the punter as a weak point, I mean, I think that Howie Roseman's done a pretty good job constructing this roster. You're always going to have little sore spots: linebacker, safety depth. You can't be great everywhere, but I think that that's probably one of the positions that I think that they would address.
Gotcha. All right. Well, yeah, before we get out of here, being that the Eagles are such a solid team, not to put you on the spot, but I mean, who do you think their toughest competition is? Like Dallas, San Francisco, and do you think the Eagles, will get back to the Super Bowl?
I would say probably. I wouldn't say Dallas. I would say maybe San Fran, Seattle. I think Seattle can be a pretty formidable.
They made some good moves.
Yeah, they slowly built that team into having a pretty well-rounded roster. I think they could make some noise this year if Geno Smith's able to replicate his success, which hasn't been proven throughout his lengthy career. We have to see if last year was an aberration or if he's sort of turning the corner in his final act of his career. So I would say Seattle or San Francisco. But to your second question, I think that the Eagles are equipped to run through the NFC. If they stay healthy, health is key. And last year was really rare. They didn't really sustain any serious injuries on their way to the Super Bowl. And if they're able to do that, I don't really see any team being able to go toe to toe with them in the NFC. The way I see it right now, to be honest with you, I have the Eagles and the Bengals meeting in the Super Bowl.
Interesting. Yeah. It's funny because I started watching ball back in like the late 80s, and it's almost like a flip. Like I remember growing up, it was the NFC. You had Philadelphia, Washington, Giants, San Francisco. You had the NFC was the gauntlet, and then the AFC you had Buffalo, and but Buffalo made it those 4 straight years. And it's kind of right now it's kind of like you look at the NFC, like the Eagles might have the best roster in the National Football League, but the AFC. Look at the gauntlet you have in the AFC. I mean, basically all the top quarterbacks are in the AFC pretty much except for Jalen Hurts.
Right. So, that's a good point.
But those guys are going to be battling it out. And, hey, I hope you're right, because I definitely we all want to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl again, and this time come out on top, and we could all be on Broad Street again.
Well, I would love to cover another Super Bowl. So last year was a great experience in Arizona, but I would certainly like to get to Vegas and cover a Super Bowl there. So that would be quite an experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, if there's ever a year you really want to make the Super Bowl, it's this year. You know what I mean?
I mean, as a writer, just to be able to take in the whole scene, that whole ambiance and everything, that stadium, Allegiant Stadium's wonderful. I've never been there, but just seeing it, from afar. I mean, I got to get there. So that would be pretty cool for me. Yeah,
definitely. Well, hey, Andrew, I really appreciate your time. I'm sure everybody knows you out there, but where can everybody catch you?
You could check me out on Twitter at Andrew Dicecco. I'm pretty active on there, and you can also go to insidethebirds.com. That's where all my stories are. We just had our podcast that came out this morning where me, Adam, and Jeff mulled over our 53-man roster projections. It was a lot of fun, so you can check that out as well.
All right, cool. Hey, thanks a lot, man. Hopefully we'll talk again, and hopefully it's during the Super Bowl run. Let's make the Super Bowl run this year.
All right, man. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one.
You too.
See ya. So yeah, that was fun. It's always good. It's always good to get some football talk out here. So like we were saying, hey, hopefully he's right, and the Eagles, the Eagles make another Super Bowl run. And yeah, so let's just hope. Sean hopefully should be hopping on in a minute here. So let me check out some stuff here. Oh, hang on a second. But anyway, yeah. So let's hope they do a run here. Let me check out a comment here. Oh, I missed this one here. Hang on. Evan Lauro, you can check Evan out on the Big Blue Power Hour. He's a Giants fan. He says Isaiah Simmons going to catch Hurts this year. So glad to have a fast linebacker on the core. And Evan also says year 14, hell no. Okay, yeah, that's one thing. I'll tell you what. I got to give. We didn't mention the Giants, but I got to keep it real. The Giants are Giants scare me a little bit. I got to be honest, and I'm not trying to kiss Evan's butt here since he's a Giants fan, but they got a nice team. I like what they did moves wise. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones looks like he's showing some improvement by all accounts. They went out and got Isaiah Simmons. I like what they did in the draft. They drafted Jalen Hyatt, who looks really good. You have Darren Waller as tight end. He could be a hell of a weapon. So I kind of like what the Giants are doing. But anyway, yeah. So it's going to definitely be an interesting. It's going to definitely be an interesting season. So anyway, here. Let's get into some. Let's get into some Phillies talk because right now we have Eagles are about to start, but the Phillies are red hot right now. So let me pull up some Phillies talk here. All right. So the Philadelphia Phillies coming off a sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals. Now these aren't your father's Cardinals. Usually the Cardinals, I can't remember the last time the Cardinals were this terrible. I was actually at the game Saturday night, and the Phillies were just bashing the ball. I mean, they hit at least 3 home runs. Bryce Harper's like red hot right now. Castellanos hit a couple of bombs. Stott's hitting ball well, Bohm's hitting well, and it's Phillies are playing some really good ball. So hang on, let me see if I can get Sean on here. Oh, all right, no, so all right, but anyway, yeah. So like I said, Phillies are playing great ball, and they're just playing well. So anyway, let me give a shout out to my sponsors here. All right, anybody out there with an injury, if you slip and fall at work, my man, attorney Big Al, aka Jason Fine, aka Big Al, motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workers' compensation, or personal injury claims. He has three office locations throughout Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Philadelphia, PA, Cherry Hill, or Pittsburgh. So if you fall and get hurt, say you're out there playing football, or having to, we're heading into the fall, so people are out there having catches with football or whatever. If you happen to fall down and get hurt, call my man Jason Fine. He's the guy to call. Got another new sponsor here, Dugout Mugs. They have basically it's kind of cool. They have a mug for any baseball fan. So you could use the promo code OOTBS Sports 20 at dugoutmugs.com. So you can get all kinds of different designs. I mean, hey, here's hoping, here's hoping the Phillies make a run, and maybe in a few months' time we have a 2023 World Series champion Philadelphia Phillies mug. Wouldn't that be great to be out there? Here I got here. Any coffee drinkers? Now you don't need to drink coffee to watch the Philadelphia Eagles, because the Eagles are going to have a great year. But if your team sucks out there and you're trying to watch, like for example, the Arizona Cardinals, like they blow. So say you're a Cardinals fan and you want to try to watch that trash, you might want to do some Monkeys Call Coffee. Maybe you'd have to spike that, John, too. So you could use the promo code OOTBS Sports at monkeycallcoffee.com. So make sure you check those guys out. Here's all the shows on Out of the Box Sports. There's something for everybody. As you're watching right now, we got the Sully Squad on now. Later tonight, 8:30 p.m., we got Big Blue Power Hour. Tuesday night, tomorrow night at 6:30, you got a show called Commander's Gridiron. And then I'll be on with my man Dave Yarnell doing extra innings. So all you baseball fans, check that out. But, we're talking about the NFC here. And the one thing is that, I didn't mention the Commanders, but got to admit, their quarterback, Sam Howell, I know it's only preseason, but that kid looks like he's got a chance. And the one thing about that team is they have a lot of talent. And, they got a lot of talent on that team. And, if they get some quality quarterback play, they could be a little scary too. Here's my man, another show here, my man Ken Fry. He's doing a Raiders show, Las Vegas Raiders, Just Win Baby. So you can check him out. He also does LA Kings. And here we got one more here. Okay. And anybody out there making a trip, Philly Sports Trips is the best in the land. All right. I know myself personally, I'm going with Mike Fuji. We're going down to the Washington one, October 29th. Vince Rizzuto does it well. And not only does he do road games, but they also do a tailgate for each home game. So make sure you check that out. Like I said, best in the business. So if you're trying to do a trip, do that. And I got two more here. Thursday nights, NFC East, got a new show called the NFC East Table. It's basically trash talking back and forth. So whether you're a fan of the Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, or Commanders, it's hard for me not to say Redskins. I got to admit but Commanders. Basically, check it out. It's nonstop trash talking. And one last one, all you Notre Dame, anybody out there that's a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan, I know I am, and my man Sean's about to hop on in a second. He's a big Irish fan too. We both grew up Notre Dame Saturdays, Eagles Sundays. So if you are an Irish fan, got a brand new Golden Dome podcast hosted by my man Miko Spencer. So make sure you check him out. So let me add my man Sean on here. What's up, Sean?
What's up, man? Sorry for the delay, man.
Nah, it's all good, man. Yeah, sorry you missed Andrew. We had a nice little conversation kind of back and forth about who was going to be cut, and he had an interesting point. And I haven't really read this anywhere, but he was saying that that the buzz is that Justin Evans actually might be the guy to start alongside of Reed Blankenship. I haven't heard that at all.
Yeah, I heard that on the Farsi show, to be honest with you, too. That was some other beat writers also said the same thing, that Justin Evans might be the guy to be the safety. But, I mean, like we said before, we got such depth. It's not even funny, but it's great because you got Reed Blankenship, undrafted free agent, Sidney Brown, upcoming, promising safety. So, I mean, everything's positive, Derek Barnett, you probably got into that. What are your thoughts on that? Trade him.
Yeah, you know what? Hang on real quick here.
Yeah, sure.
Adam Glenn says Washington gets a quarterback, they will be good. Yeah, I agree, because I was talking about the Commanders.
True.
No, but the thing with Derek Barnett, I mean, see, the problem is, I mean, I'm all right with I'm okay with trade him, but then you got to then you might run in the same problem you had last year, where all of a sudden if somebody goes down, then you're a little thin. You know what I mean?
True. That's always the worst case scenario.
I mean, but the thing is, though, he might have a little bit. Honestly, he may have a little bit of value, bro, because I know he's been kind of a quote unquote bust, but he does have experience. I mean, you
True.
may be able to get a 5th round pick for Derek Barnett.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me, because we gave up what a 4 last year for Robert Quinn.
I believe a 3rd or a 4th. Yeah, it's surprisingly, yeah. Mm-hmm. How'd that work?
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, for all the great things Howie's done, he kind of missed that one a little bit. But
yeah,
the bottom line is though, I mean, it might be one of those things where maybe they just decide they want to do Derek Barnett a solid because for his career he would be better off going to another team because maybe he needs to put up numbers and he's not going to get enough playing time here.
Man, they thought he was the next Reggie White. Remember that, me and you talking? Well, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, you know what's funny too? So 2017 obviously is when they had the draft here. Yeah. And that was the year we won the Super Bowl, and that was great. That was probably our worst draft ever.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it weird? Like, they won the Super Bowl that year, so nobody noticed it. But, like, think about it. Derek Barnett, mostly a bust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although, hey, one thing you can't take away from him, Sean, though, he recovered that ball in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another one, too, he made a big play in the Minnesota game.
Yes.
Was it or I mean, he might have actually. Did he recover the ball? I forget if he recovered the ball or if he hit Keenum. I don't remember. I think he might have recovered. I think Long hit him, and I think he recovered.
Long hit him, yeah, and I think Barnett recovered. Yeah.
It was something like that. I just remember he wasn't that bad as a rookie, but then as time went on, all of a sudden he's I'll tell you one thing: if they trade Derek Barnett, they'll get a lot less personal fouls.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude is like a personal foul machine.
Hitting a guy out of bounds. That's the stuff they teach. I'm sorry, but back to high school and pound ball, they teach you that. Like, I mean, get it out while you can when you're playing young in high school. But once you get to college and the pros, it's a different ball game. Like, you have to actually say to yourself, look, man, can't go full throttle because there's no way you're putting on the brakes. Just like half those hits, but I mean,
hey, remember Andre Waters back in the day?
Yes, I do. Dirty Waters, baby.
Let's be honest though. He was a much better player as a safety than Barnett's been as a defensive end.
Oh, absolutely.
Andre Waters. That's one thing, man. Andre Waters brought that wood, dog.
Yes,
and him and Wes Hopkins.
It changed the game. Like the timing of the game, like damn, they're for real. The body bag game.
That was good. There were so many great games. I want to do another old school on that era. Like actually, you know what I was thinking? I was actually mulling this around. I couldn't sleep and I was like sitting around and I was thinking I wouldn't mind doing a show on like what if Randall didn't get hurt, like a what if, like if Randall doesn't get hurt in 91 or Jerome Brown doesn't die in 92, does that team win a Super Bowl? I say yes.
Absolutely.
I say yes. So that would be good. That's kind of like a show I'm kind of interested in doing. It's not, I don't know if that would really be like a quote unquote, like an old school show, but it'd be kind of interesting. You know what I mean? To kind of debate that back and forth.
You're right, though, that the death of Jerome Brown really hit people on the team hard because if you figure they had Clyde Simmons, Andy Harmon, Mike Pitts, Reggie White, and Reggie White actually took Jerome Brown under his wing, kind of settled him down because he was that wild child. Like, he was a young dude. He liked to party. He kind of set him down, brought him back to earth. But yeah, his death was very hurtful for the team. No doubt about that.
Speaking of Jerome Brown, a lot of the guys are, Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, Slay. A lot of these guys are acting like Jalen Carter's going to be a young Jerome Brown.
Hey, I said it to Farzy, Jerome Brown 2.0. Hopefully that is. Give him that 99. He's 98. He's close to 99, but
yeah,
like you said, you can't wait for week 1 to happen because the kid's special, Jalen. Like his technique, and I think me and you brought it up. His technique is this is the way he gets off the ball, man. It's like wow. Like the first man's always going to win, the lower man's always going to win, But just his speed, like you said, his technique, it's off the charts. We haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm not going to compare a guy that hasn't played one snap in the regular season NFL to Aaron Donald. You know what I mean? But it's that. Here's hoping that he could somewhat be that type of an impact player.
Yeah, true.
I mean, you remember that Super Bowl a couple years ago. I mean, how dominant was Aaron Donald in that Super Bowl? I mean, he single-handedly won the game on that last pass rush. Because if he doesn't get to Burrow on that last rush, I think Chase is like wide open down the field.
Absolutely.
I've seen like they showed it. I forget. I saw it on like Twitter or somewhere where they showed that play, and Cincinnati had a wide open receiver, but Burrow was busy getting his ass kicked.
Oh, dude, he was eating that turf. You're right, but yeah, Donald's technique, man, he's off the charts, man. Double team him, low, like rip move and all that other stuff. But yeah, it's something.
Yeah. So so I want to talk a little Phillies, but but since you just hopped on, just to get your real quick, do you see any like possible surprise cuts of the Eagles? Like any names that we're not like thinking like for I have one. Now I don't think this will happen, but like based off of the fact that I heard that they were saying Kayvon Wallace has looked good in camp and Evans looks good. Could Terrell Edmonds possibly be a surprise cut?
There's a possibility, but what I've been hearing from that is kind of make him a hybrid safety / linebacker because he's been working into that mix. But yeah, I mean, nothing surprises me with this team. I think surprising cut for me.
Well, Dennis Kelly was just cut. That was a little surprising. But then I saw one of the writers said on Twitter that basically that's because the kid from Alabama, and this is encouraging.
Okay,
Steen, they love the kid Steen, and so I feel like they're already confident in that kid.
Wow, that's some positive and great news, man. Because it goes to show you, kid's young. He's got great technique, and to play, like you said, guard and tackle, that's pretty key. But depth is the key, like you said. Probably for me, a surprising cut. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe one of the I'm thinking it might not happen. One of the tight ends, like Jake Stahl.
You never know.
You never know. I mean, everything's behind closed doors, but it should be interesting. Yeah.
Well, this. I mean, you look at this roster is just so deep. The only real weakness, the major weakness really is play. And you have a little bit of concern about the linebacker, and then you're wondering about the safety. But Andrew was saying the hype about Reed Blankenship, like the team is like really high on him because I was asking, I'm like everything I'm reading says that Reed Blankenship looks great, and he was like, yeah, it's like they really love the kid.
He seems one of those players. He has great technique. He's smart, and he's a great tackler. I mean, you can't teach that. So.
Hey, he baited a future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers into a couple picks last year.
Yes, he did.
He baited the shit out of him on that one, John. Remember, he's like that was a hell of a move. And then the other one, I mean, the game was already out of reach, but like there was one play, I think it was in the championship game against the Niners, where Deebo Samuel was like running around on the end of run, and Reed Blankenship came up in nowhere and tackled him open field. Like, you don't see a lot of guys tackle Deebo Samuel open field like that.
No.
Shot. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
But yeah, we'll obviously, hey, it's really exciting that real games are coming up here. But how about this Phillies team, man?
Saturday night and Sunday night couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
You know, wheeling and dealing, Wheeler. And then shockingly, I think Noah silenced the critics, to be honest with you, with a nice performance. 7 innings, 1 walk, and fresh my memory, 7 strikeouts maybe?
Something like that. And hey, listen, I'm a staunch Aaron Nola critic. I mean, I've been riding Nola like crazy this year, but got to give him his props. His last 2 times out in particular, he's been very effective. And even before that, he's his last 4 or 5 starts, he started to kind of get more of a rhythm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't even give up a long ball yesterday. You know,
yes, he didn't. I mean, yes, he did. I mean, he was on point. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Paul Spencer's got a comment here real quick. He says, how do you feel about quarterback 2 and quarterback 3, Mariota and McKay, since Book was released? Boy's gonna release Will Greer. He fits the bootleg Hurts pro type, mobile and fast. I don't know. Do you see the Eagles go? I mean, maybe they would, but I
heard they're going to put Ian Book on the practice squad, and Mariota will, unfortunately, for some people, be the backup. I mean, your thoughts?
Here's the thing, right? I'm not really a, I know it's easy to rip Mariota in the preseason because he kind of looked like shit and all, but we kind of got to keep it in a little bit of perspective. I mean, they're not playing with any starters. I mean, we all kind of knew Mariota's always struggled with accuracy, right? I mean, if you thought Mariota was going to come here and start being like Joe Montana, I don't know what football you're watching. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Matt, the draw to Mariota is, if Jalen Hurts misses 2 games, 3 games, right? That you can still run the same offense. You could have a heavy dose of the running game. And don't forget, if Mariota's the guy for a couple games, they're going to put a game plan in for Mariota. You'll see a heavy run based. It'll be a heavy run based offense. You'll see probably play action passes, and the Eagles have enough weapons where I feel like Mariota could get you a game or 2 and score you 20 to 24 points, and then you're going to have to find a way to make some defensive plays that game and a solid running game.
Very true.
I mean,
I got wheels, but like you said, his accuracy is Here
we go. Paul Spencer says, "Give me a 3rd for Lance. LOL. It's an upgrade from our 4th. To me, it's a steal. No brainer for us. If he pans out, flip him or keep him. Works out. I think that was a smart move by Dallas because, do I think Trey Lance hasn't shown shit yet, right? But the bottom line is the kid has great athletic ability. He's got potential. They only gave up a 4th rounder for him. And yeah, if you come in there, maybe you develop him. And then like Paul said, maybe you flip him, if he looks, say for instance, say he looks really good in like the preseason next year. Maybe you flip him for like a 2nd or 3rd, or he's a cheap backup for a few years,
Yeah.
But as far as us trading for him, nah. I mean, to me, I would just as soon keep Mariota. I think they're the same guy right now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So. But anyway, getting back to the Phillies, like I have right on the bottom here, Nola back. Now, I'll tell you what, if he keeps pitching, if he has a few more starts, and I think he was going to be the 2nd starter anyway, but if he continues to progress and has a few more starts, I think it's a pretty safe bet. It's going to be Wheeler then Nola in the playoffs,
And then you got Taiwan Walker, and hopefully, we get back. I heard he's doing live pitching or live hitting Ranger. But, Christian Sanchez is proven to be a reliable, solid pitcher. Mike Lorenz, you're going to have your up and down games. Everybody gets, he had a no-hit. It happens. That's how he usually is pitching-wise. But all in all, I think he's he's up for the task to do whatever they need to ask of him.
Yeah, well, that's happened a lot throughout baseball history. Like when a guy pitches a no-hitter, his next timer, like the guy's next time or two out, a lot of times they do get shelled.
Yeah,
true. So I'm not ready to press the panic button on Lorenzo right now. Now if he gets shelled his next couple times out, okay, then I'm getting a little concerned.
Two more games for me, and yeah, it's a reason of concern. You're right. But
yeah, you know what I mean?
All in all, just keep on doing what you're doing, And you got a great, reliable, since we were talking about the lineup in Phillies, you got a great backup catcher in Stubbs. The team is playing off the charts, man. They're playing as a tight-knit team. There's not one bad, apple in the group, man. They're all just having fun, man. Letting loose.
Yeah, well, how? And what's funny too? How about the fact? How about the fact that all season we've been kind of like, the only guy hitting homers for a while was Schwarber, and now you look, the Phillies have 48 home runs in the month of August.
Yes, I just was going to say that. Stott, Bohm, Castellanos is slowly but surely. Bryce. I really like this kid Rojas. I just love the way he plays center field. The way he plays center field, it's his first. He's got wheels. He just needs to kind of control himself. But I think all in all, he'll be a great all-around ball player. So
yeah,
Marsh.
I was gonna say, yeah, I like him. I like Rojas. Rojas has Gold Glove potential in center field.
Absolutely.
I really do like Marsh too. The only problem is that I think eventually, as much as I do like Marsh, I think eventually it wouldn't shock me if maybe Marsh might be the guy that you possibly trade somewhere. Because if Rojas can hit enough, I think Rojas is going to be your center fielder just because he's so elite level defensively. So. I mean, yes. maybe, do you think Marsh can hit for enough power to play corner outfield? See, I'm not sure.
Nah.
Usually you want your corner outfielders to hit you like 25 to 30 bombs. You know what I'm saying? And Marsh looks like a 16 to 20 guy. But, I guess maybe it remains to be seen because, if you're getting pop from – if you're getting enough power from first base, if you're getting power from DH, then maybe you're okay with a guy hitting 16 homers in the corner outfield. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I'm kind of basing on like old school baseball theory. You
have to.
But but I'll tell you, I really like this team, Sean, and yeah. Look, you look at the landscape of the National League. I mean, if I'm saying the favorites, well, you got to say Atlanta's the favorite. I mean, they not only have the best record, but they're the Dodgers are playing great ball. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, Phil, and I'll tell you a dark horse. I was watching Pat and Mike's show yesterday, and I agree with Mike. I think the Brewers are a little bit of a dark horse because they have really good pitching. The Brewers might be tough.
I was going to say dark horse. Kind of Arizona, man. They're pesky.
They are. They have two good pitchers too.
Yes.
So they scare me. They scare me a little bit because, in a short series with those two guys, if those two guys are mowing you down, you could go home in 2 days. That's right. That's the scary. But hey, that's the scary thing about. That's the scary thing about baseball. I mean, look at last year. Last year. The Braves had that great run. They caught the Mets. They finish second behind the Dodgers. And then we go to Atlanta. We go to Atlanta, win one of the first two, and then come back here and take them out 2 in a row.
True. Now, what are your thoughts on this Anaheim game? Now, due to the fact it's a shame no Trout with the hand, and now you got. Ohtani with the UCL tear.
And our boy Mickey Moniak's back in town. Mickey Moniak's become a good player.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, I'm not pining for him though, because I really do like Brandon Marsh, and to be honest with you, Moni, I don't think Moniak was going to do it here. You know, some guys need a change of scenery. I think that kid needed to go somewhere where he wasn't the first overall pick. You know what I mean? In Philadelphia, he's always going to be looked at as the first overall pick, but in Anaheim, he's just a young guy they traded for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that plays kind of like Markelle Fultz. Like, and I know it's another sport, but you know, Fultz was first overall in Philly. I don't think he was ever going to be successful here, and he's turned himself into a decent player in Orlando because there's no pressure on him.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So, my thoughts on the series. I got it. You know what? Can't let up. You can't let up. I don't want to go like let's just keep the train moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, worst case scenario, go 2-1. I'm hoping for a sweep, but worst case scenario, go 2-1. Because you know, I want a stress-free last few weeks of the season. Like I'd like to have this number 1 wild card spot wrapped up with like a week to go. Then you set up your pitching rotation, and somebody has to come to Citizens Bank and take 2 or 3 from us. And then let's beat the shit out of somebody when they come here. And then boom. And then NLDS best of 5 versus Atlanta. Let's rock. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm looking at it. And, you know, like I said, man, the Braves, you'd have to say are the favorites, but let's be honest, John. If the Phillies were to find a way to win one of those first 2 Johns down Atlanta, there's going to be a lot of tight sphincters down there in Atlanta. And
that right.
And
your nails.
Right.
Absolutely.
And those hitters would be grabbing that bat like sawdust. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're turning the bat into sawdust, dude.
Mm-hmm. My buddy just texted me. He said Mickey Moniak just had a nice infield single.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah, he's still, you know, yeah. You know, it's funny. I wish the kid no ill will. I hope he has a really good career. You know, I mean, it's no sweat on my balls. I hope he's a good player.
What happened? You're right.
You know, because I'm not that dude, man. Like I'm not gonna hate on a dude just because he didn't produce here. I mean, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we got a lot of talent. We got a hell of a team. So, you know, it is what it is. He could do his thing out there for a team that totally sucks balls. You know, their fans try to drink monkey cold coffee just to stay up and watch that, John. You know what I'm saying? So
you got that right. So,
you know, and our team's good. So let's you know, it's all good. And you know, it's funny you mentioned Trout, man. I think I saw an article like right around the trade deadline where somebody brought it up again. They were like, "Oh, you know, maybe the Phillies could trade for Trout if the Angels." Bro, not to be mean, I wouldn't even want to trade for Trout right now. He's always hurt.
He's damaged goods. It's a shame. It really is.
Yeah,
such a awesome talent, but he's had his string of bad luck. You know, it happens, but you wish him nothing but the best. But yeah, he's not coming here.
Right, and like, you know, for what you'd have to pay him, for what you'd have to give up, I mean, to me, it's not worth it. Like I think the article was saying like you'd have to give up like some of your top minor leaguers and maybe an Alec Boehm or something. I'm thinking to myself, I wouldn't do that. There's no way I would do that.
Nah, the way we're playing, the way the way we're riding, we're good.
Yeah, no way, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Angels are up 1-0.
Okay, all right.
That's all right. That's all right. It's early.
It's early, man. No, but you got some people hitting the panic button. Just ride that wave, man. There's something special.
All right, so we got some. All right, so I'm looking at the landscape of this week. All right, the Phillies. All right, the Phillies have 3 with the Angels, and you know what? It is a big series because they're off Thursday, but then they got to go to Milwaukee for 3.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be tough. That could be a possible playoff preview at some point. And then they got to play. Then they play at San Diego. Now San Diego struggled, but still, it's still hard.
San Diego, yeah.
It's hard. You got to fly across the country. They still have a lot of good hitters, really, they have a lot of talent on that team. I mean, San Diego, the Yankees, and the Cardinals are the three most disappointing teams in baseball
Yeah,
this year
how
by
about it? All that lineup: Xander Bogart, Juan Soto, Machado, Tatis. And then you got Waka, Darvish. You thought he was going to be something. He's kind of up. He's that up and down kind of pitcher. Reason why I say that is I have him in fantasy.
I gotcha.
And then, but like you said, back to these Brewers, man. You got the kid South Frelick. I had him. That kid is good. He has wheels. He's on point. He hits. He runs. He does sort of like I don't know the guy, but yeah. And then you got Yelich. He's finally coming on. After having an injured season last year. But yeah, the pitching, man, like you said, with the Brewers, Corbin Burns. Who's the other guy? You got Frankie Perletta. He's playing. Yeah. He's pitching Friday night. Oh, Brandon Woodruff.
There you go.
Those three are solid ass pitching for them. So, I mean, I think we're up for the challenge. So.
I do too. All right, so let's look by the time we're back here next week. Phillies have 6 games, 3 with the Angels, 3 with the Brewers, and then next Monday night they'll be at San Diego at 6:40. So actually that game, that's an early start out there when we're so we'll be actually doing the. Oh no, you know what? We're not doing the show. We're not. Next week's Labor Day.
Yes,
I completely forgot. Yeah, no show next week. Yeah. All right, so the next 6 games, what's our record?
4-2. I'm going to keep it like I said last week. 4-2.
4-2. Okay, you know what? I think so too. I think, I'm going to say, 4-2. Yeah, that means we either have to sweep the Angels or we gotta win both series. I'm going to be optimistic. We're playing some really good ball. I'm going to say 4-2.
Exactly.
I'm riding the wave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that the Phillies recognize that that's a big measuring stick series versus the Brewers. And I'll tell you that's one thing about this Phillies team. They they seem to be able to rise to the occasion. At least in my opinion, I feel like they can rise to the occasion. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So all right. Well, you have 4-2. I have 4-2. And now that I'm thinking about it, so next week's Labor Day. So we're not. So basically, wow, you know what? We won't be on next time we're on. Will be Monday, September 11th. So the next time we're doing a show, bro, the Eagles would have played.
Okay.
Yeah. So next time we'll be back in 2 weeks to do a Eagles Pats recap. You know what? Real quick, one more thing, Sean. What do you think of the first game? Because the NFL actually opens up Lions at Kansas City next Thursday. What do you think in that? I think Detroit's going to have a hell of a year, but I think it's going to be a rude awakening for them that first game.
Yeah, same here. Rude awakening. I mean, Chiefs are the Chiefs. So, I mean, but hopefully we do see some good football Thursday night, like a nail biter. It would be nice. But I think Kansas City is going to be back to what they were doing from last year. It's going to be very interesting with the Chris Jones situation.
Yeah, you know what?
Think about that.
Without him, you know what? Detroit could put 40 on them without Chris Jones.
Yeah. I mean, they showed you as the season progressed. Detroit's hungry. They got a lot of underachievers. Look at the kid Hutchinson. Man. I mean, no, I'm sorry. The defensive end. I forget his name. But, yeah, he was playing balls to the wall. He was a hell of a player.
Yeah, you're talking about Hutchinson.
Hutchinson.
The kid they took from Michigan.
Aiden Hutchinson, yes.
Yeah, Detroit's got a lot of talent. I picked Jamar Gibbs in like the 4th. I took a little bit gamble because I think he could be really good. I took Jamar Gibbs as one of my sleepers in fantasy. I think because
you and Brian, my brother took him too.
Yeah, the only thing. Yeah, the only thing that sucked was I tried to get Montgomery a little bit later as the handcuff, but somebody beat me to him because I think, because fantasy wise, I think Gibbs could have a hell of a year, like catching the ball and getting yards, but I could see Montgomery vulturing some touchdowns,
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yep.
So yeah, I like the Chiefs that first game, but the Lions, I think the Lions are gonna have a hell of a year. So we'll see. But hey, that'll be we'll be talking a lot more football. Yeah, bro, it's football season. So our next show will be Eagles post-game show pretty much. The recap. And so it's exciting times coming up. So
it.
But all right, well, we're gonna get ready to wrap up here. Like I said, next week we won't be on. So we'll see you all September 11th.
Thanks, Labor Day.
Yeah, thanks again to Andrew Dicecco from Inside the Birds for hopping on and talking some football. Appreciate your time. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Later, Sean. Later, everybody.